Is anybody out there? Are you waiting on me? Are you? No. Well, all right. We're up to 4 people, but no commenters. We'll make sure. Oh, we got 7. So what's happening, everyone? Mr. Beast? No. Not Mr. Beast. Okay. Well, hi, Gabriel. Oh, Cousin Mike, what's happening? Sound of a sweet whistle. Who's better, Sonic or Mario? If we're talking about OG gaming platforms like the Sega versus the Nintendo, the Sega Genesis wins hands down. So it's got to be Sonic, because the Genesis had way more computing capabilities. And remember how you just fly across the screen. You'd never see anything of that caliber on an NES. It would hurt overloading and getting glitchy and stuff. So yeah, I'm going to go with Sonic, only because of OG gaming platforms. Having a milkshake, nice. Yeah. Oh, movie, okay, video game Mario, movie Sonic, okay. Team Sonic. The Sonic I want to go is actual speed. No, just kidding. I'll never go Sonic. UP 777. Yeah, there is Team Bloodhound SSC, and there are a bunch of English lads over, and they come all the way over to Bonneville, and they run a turbine-powered land speed car, and they go Sonic in that. And that's just insane to run that fast on land. Danster. Had to work on Lady Dougster's Toyota the other day, and we're still chasing a problem. I don't know if it's maybe the idle air control valve or something, but the other day it started, ran, and died, revved up high, and then died. Did that like 5 times on Lady Dougster. Then it started up, cleared its throat, and it ran fine. So I was going to go look for the idle air control valve, but I couldn't. It wasn't part of the throttle body like some videos suggest. So I ended up cleaning out the throttle body, and then I forgot I unplugged the mass airflow and the air inlet temperature sensor when I buttoned her car up the night before, and she drove it around to her. I did it on Saturday night, and she drove it to her mom's the next day, and she's like, the Toyota's down on power and the check engine light's on. And she checks her codes, and she says it's code this and code this. And I'm like, okay, well, look it up. And I see air inlet temperature sensor, and I went, oh, I forgot to plug those in. I'll fix that right now. Went out, click, click. Oops. How's it drive, honey? Oh, power's back. Check engine light went off. What's happening, mofo? So I don't know if we've actually fixed the problem, but I did something proactive. So we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't do it again. Hopefully it was a fluke, but if I can figure out where the, Max, how's it going? So maybe if it keeps doing it, maybe the idle air control valve is just carboned up. So, and I got just the stuff. So I keep cutting in and out. Really? Signal's still pretty good on my side. That's unfortunate if I keep cutting in and out. Okay, cool. So I've got that valve body out of that 727. So now I've got the valve body completely dismantled and to its 3 separate pieces, the mid plate, the upper, and the lower. And then Saturday, I boiled it in pine sol to get it clean. And I mean, that's the power of pine sol, baby. But check out how clean it is. And I mean clean. Boiled it in pine sol. Had a bunch of schmoo on it. Now inside on the circuit, it was pretty clean in there on the upper side, but this got way clean. So when I finally took it out of the bath, I let it cool, and then I ended up detailing it with Q-tips. But it smells like pine sol. So that's the upper. And then here's the lower. Ta-da! And check it out. It is clean, y'all. Clean. That had this goopy schmoo, this black, nasty, goopy schmoo in every orifice, every circuit. And I boiled it out, and I'm using toothpicks and trying to stir up the goo and then put it. And of course, I'm using an old cheap soup pot from the dollar store with my pine sol and water. And so this doesn't fit in it. So it'll fit like that, just barely this way. So you got to turn it. But yeah, it turned out really good. And then once again, I let it cool. And then I cleaned everything with some Q-tips, and we got her surgically clean, just like I was told. So next operation is I'm going to flat sand each surface to make sure they're straight and true. And I'm going to use a side window out of a Super Beetle. I happen to have a set of side windows for a Super Beetle that we're not using, and I need a good flat sheet of glass to sand out parts. So we're going to put that side window to work. Going to glue the sandpaper right to it and get her nice and true. Take a marker, go all across it, or even color the whole thing in if you really want to get crazy, and then sand it and look at it, sand it, and you'll see where your high spots and low spots are and get it straight and true. So that's next up for the valve body. And then it'll be another bath. And then after that, it's, oh, I got to polish the valves. I still got to polish the valves. And then, so polish valves, then wash this again. And then I can start actually installing the shift kit and reassembling my valve body. Cool. Diesel. Diesel's good. Kerosene's good too. Both have a, Kero is higher refined and has way more detergents in it. Okay. Put everything away. There. Put it in a safe spot. Pine Sol changed it. I boil carbs at Pine Sol all the time. Lady Dougster lets me do it in the house. I had that in the house. Now, granted, I am like OCD clean when I'm doing stuff like that, but yeah. And the house smells like Pine Sol. Now, that's the new school way. The old school way was to boil carbs in lemon juice. And diesel, Pine Sol, same thing. I got a new girl? No. I've been with the same lady for a long time. And I plan to keep it that way. Me and Lady Dougster are meant for each other. I'll smell like the garage for a week. But where else do you build a carburetor? On the dining room table. Yeah. You know, it's, yeah. Or you need a nice clean bench. Usually, yeah. You should see all the work I do on our picnic table outside. And then, oh yeah, on the desk. Yep. It's okay, Mike. It's okay, Mike. I've been with the same lady for 25 years. So, yeah. Hey, my lady likes motorcycles. My lady likes to ride motorcycles. She likes working on her Volkswagen Beetle. She likes doing maintenance on her Toyota also. So, yeah. Yeah, Lady Dougster's up as a keeper, a gearhead keeper. We're going to try to get her Triumph 900 up and going. It's a Triumph Thunderbird 900, 3-cylinder. And we're cleaning out the tank and we're trying to get that thing. I got some, it's right there, my chemical cabinet. I got some tank seal from POR 15. and I was reading the directions, and they've got like their own special brand of wax and grease remover. But then they had a or it's a 3-step process with them, and it's wax and grease, this etch, then their tank coating. And I'm like, I like etch, because that would give it a foot or something to really sink its teeth into. So yeah, we're probably going to be doing the 2-step process. Going to clean it my way, clean it good, etch it, and then hit it with that tank coat. Hopefully it doesn't act like the old cream coat. Right. Riding a Coleman pit bike, they're great. They're great. Yeah, my pit bike, it's going to have a wheelie bar. It'll have a long raked out front end. It's going to have a Yamaha RD 350 2-stroke engine on it, which is way too much engine for it. No, I'd die on that thing. Be cool though. But you'd always idle it around. You'd never crack the throttle on it. But I would never bring the carb cleaner into the house. I'm on board with that one. I'm on board with that one. Yeah, okay, gotta make a run. So this, and this has got to go outside, carb clean, dry it off. Good idea. Now I've got my workshop. I got other places dismantle the carb, but just once it's to its individual pieces and I need to clean it, that's the only time I use the stove. Yeah. And John Wilburn said on his live the other day, he goes, if you can build a carburetor, you can build a valve body. And yeah, he's right. Thanks to, well, I'm also following Cope's video to a T, but yeah. This valve body's going to be cool. This build's going to be cool, I think, for what it is. If you can dodge a wrench. You can dodge a ball. I haven't been throwing tools mad in a long time, and I'm happy about that. Those are bad times when you're throwing tools mad. Usually I've already decided to go take a long break before I'm throwing tools mad. I was right out of high school. Didn't have a lot of wrenching ability. Hey, Duz, what's happening? Didn't have a whole bunch of wrenching ability. Was interested in it, wanted to learn, and was willing to try because I had no choice because I was broke. And I had an 84 Audi 4000S. It was a 4-cylinder. 5000s were 5 cylinders. Mine was a 4-cylinder. And starter died and the alternator died at the same time. Good times. And you had to, by the book, you had to jack up the engine and take this motor mount out, which is basically just a piece of box tubing with bolt plates for bolts on either side. I'm not going to do that. And then I figured out I could cheat it by taking it up over that cross member, taking it all the way to the front of the vehicle, turning it, and then taking it down by the radiator. But it had to be oriented just right, and I wasn't paying attention. So, and plus, I take it to our local alternator and starter rebuilder, and I brought him the alternator and the starter at the same time to be rebuilt. And was just limping the car around by push starting it, and just battery charger and an alternator that didn't work but spun the belt. And yeah, I drove like that for a week. And so finally it's the day to put the starter in. Hooray. So I go and try to put the starter in, and I don't have it clocked right. And I am just losing my mind mad. And I've invented swear words and made run-on swear words that was, yeah, that was like a cussing Olympics gold medalist day. And finally, it was like noon, and I was working night shift, so that means I was up all night, plus wrenching on my car till noon after work. And finally, I'm like, I just need to take my mind off of this. I'm going to go in, I'm going to have lunch. And I ended up taking a long lunch. I watched the whole Price is Right. And then I finally said, time to go back out. I struggled and struggled and struggled for hours trying to put that starter in with a whole new fresh mindset. I had the starter in, bolted up, and done in about 15 minutes. It's because I was so frustrated and I was so just flustered that I couldn't think straight. Yeah, true story. Go take a break. Yeah. Or actually, what I like to do is go do something else on the project. That's frustrating you? Let it frustrate you. Go work on something else for a little while. Keep moving forward. And then if you go work on that and you hit a hard spot, well, okay, we'll walk away from that. We'll go back to what we were doing before. And then maybe you'll be able to get that finally. Worked for me. Sometimes you have to walk away. Yes. 17.7 is a good price. Is 17.7 a good price for a 71 Charger with a 360 and a 4-speed in black? Yes. Yes, because now that body's, because everyone can't get a Gen 2, so they're buying Gen 3s. And Gen 3s are, if it's good and solid, like I'm sure it is, yeah, that's probably not too far off. $71 is the have with the good side markers. The 70, well, when did they start doing the rally where they started doing the different stylizing of the body panels, like on the doors, like the rally and the RT, and those were pretty cool. And that was also one of Richard Petty's, after the Superbird, that was also Richard Petty's favorite car body, because he could make that thing haul butt on the super speedways. As a matter of fact, he kept running. I think they wanted him to run a Magnum, and he didn't want to run a Magnum, and he kept still running the 71 body style, the previous generation Charger, until they finally made him drive a Magnum, and that was it. It was so underpowered and anemic, and yeah. Isn't that sad? I think I know he drove Buick for a little while. Oh, I mean, he's driven all, like Chevys, Buicks, Oldsmobiles, Pontiac. He was with Pontiac for a long time. .360 4-speed is a fun car to drive. Yes, it is. I smelled coolant last night. Checked my water pump today, and it has a slight wobble. O'Reilly's has one, though. 54. I think I paid more than that for the water pump on my Ram. Well, I mean, I don't know. Everything's getting out of hand on price. But then again, what would the shop have charged you to change that water pump? $54? I'll pay that. Because they'll charge you $100 for that. Because it's, what is it? Parts plus 20? Yeah, parts plus 20. So you have labor, parts plus 20%. Yeah, parts plus 20. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was. But you got to remember, our dollar is severely devalued. So that's why the prices of everything have gone insane, is because they're trying to give you more of it. Our dollar sucks. I really wish America could get on the gold standard, have our money backed by something physical, gold, silver, precious metals. Yes, that too. That too. Yeah, isn't that sad that millionaires are no longer important? And now it's the billionaires. Well, there was someone I know spent a lot of time in the greater Du Bois, Wyoming area. And this is 2010, maybe 2008, or 05. Yeah, it was 05. Anyways, the billionaires were squeezing out the millionaires. So, all those mountaintop big old palaces, yeah, the billionaires come walking in going, hey, hey, like your place, here's a huge check, go away. And a lot of times they're like, okay. But yeah, the billionaires are squeezing out the millionaires. It's come in handy. Working for the motorcycle through the power of employee discounts and getting some good deals. Yes. 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 Yeah, I seen a cartoon that I really laughed at, and it is a horse and a wagon master with the whip. And problem, wagon is stuck in mud. Second panel, obvious solution. Two mules, one wagon master, and then they get it out. And then it shows a third panel and it says corporate solution. And then there's four wagon masters in a row, all with a whip in their hand and one mule. Still got the stuck wagon. One sour Sarah, one sister Sarah. Hmm. Well, you heard about Amazon guy, bald guy, Jeff Bezos. He was having that big old, two mules for Sister Sarah. Gotcha. He was having that big old super yacht made in that harbor in the Netherlands or somewhere. And then there's this historic bridge. And they realized as the ship was being built that it won't fit under the bridge. So Bezos is like, I will pay to have the bridge removed so I can get the ship out, and then I'll pay to have it replaced. It'll be like I was never there. And the whole town's like, it's a historic bridge. And they were actually going to egg his yacht because they disliked it so much. So they decided to get the ship to a certain point built, and then quietly one night they just slipped it out and took it somewhere else and finished it somewhere else. They just made sure that it would fit under the bridge. Yeah, the things like, yeah, something that you and I wouldn't even fathom having. If I was Jeff Bezos rich, my Jay Leno's garage would be dwarfed by the size of Dougster Garage. You would never want a yacht. No. I would own some bitchin' wooden speedboats. Yeah. And then I would have a whole team of men responsible for them. So at any time, I can jump in one of my boats and go. Weather permitting, of course. But yeah, and they'll all be wooden hull speedboats, Chris Crafts, and all the legendary names. Oh yeah. But those guys would probably punch a clock 40 hours a week upkeeping those wooden babies. A couple Johnson cabin sleepers with 318 Chryslers in them. Yeah. PBR boat with twin 6V53s. Aren't those the ones that are completely aluminum and non-magnetic so they wouldn't trigger the magnetic bombs on the river? Yeah, those things, that would be a brute, Danster. You're going to need a freaking barge of diesel fuel, though. I'm sure those two 653s were thirsty. Employees suck. I can see that. Yeah, anti-magnetic. Yep. It's all aluminum and magnesium. And I know Wayno from Old Two Strokers had a couple. And he's the whole time he's going up magnet. Nope. Magnet. Nope. Magnet. Nope. Yeah, isn't that hard to, yeah, aluminum blocking heads, stainless crank. Yeah, yeah. And not to mention, just alone, that all aluminum V or 6V53, think of its weight to horsepower ratio. That thing is a torquey little son of a bitch that don't really weigh that much. I don't know what the anti-magnetic 6V53 weighed, but I do know that a Chevy ZL1, which was the all aluminum 427, the bare block weighs 110 pounds. So if that can give you any idea of what the thing would weigh, because of iron, what do you think? I'd like to know what an iron 6V53 weighs versus the magnetic. I'll bet you it's 500 pounds lighter, 400 pounds lighter. Or would you have a military craft? Let's say you could have a old PT boat, and I think those had Hudsons, twin Hudsons on it. I think they might have been Hudsons. That'd be all right. And those are made of mahogany, baby. A lot of those PT boats were burned out to sea to get rid of them. 6V53. Yep. Well, both Danster and does both say 6V53 and iron, 1,500 pounds. Okay. I'd probably wager that the anti-magnetic would be 1,100. That's a safe bet. You'd think it'd be more, but I'm probably being generous. Still a heavy engine. Yes, yes. A lot of rotating mass there. With, yeah, God, compression ratios of like on other engines of like 22.5 to 1. It's like, and then you look at it and it's got a completely flat head and the valve sits straight in it. And then the combustion chambers on the piston side of things, which is weird. And then you look at the big riser, the island in the middle of it, and then it'll have a low spot all the way around the piston face. And then the outside will be castellated. And it's all about when the injector sprays it, that the fuel is able to do its circle thing, but all the way around like it's making a donut. And it all has something to do with it. And that's really interesting. There was a few automotive engines where they tried to do that with a completely flat head and then the combustion chamber pistons, and in a car engine it didn't really work that good. But it works in a diesel. I remember being a kid and going into the maintenance manager's office, Mark's, and he smoked Camels nonstop, and he had a piston on it, the piston ashtray on his desk. You know, that was like an old standard. He had I never seen it run, but it was in the I'll get to that project side corner of the shop. He had a burgundy diesel Chevette, but I never seen that up and running. But I remember seeing it. It was actually a nice looking car. This is 1991. He was an old Marine Corps motor pool mechanic. Had a neighbor that had an international dump truck with a 6V53 when I was a kid. I could hear him pull out of his driveway 2 miles away. Oh, absolutely. You are not sneaking up on anybody in Detroit. No. As a matter of fact, you hear him coming, which has got to be pretty cool. Oh, damn, I hear him. Ah! Sounds like you're just strangulating that thing. And nope, that's just another day in the life of a two-stroke Detroit. Ah! It's even funnier to pass one on the highway. Ah! Just scream. Your favorite is a 671. Prefer inliners. Hey, 6 in a row is proven to go. 8V71. Yeah, I like the 8V71. Or even better, the 8V92, like the Silver Series. And because didn't they make an all aluminum 8V72 or 8V92? The Peterbilt dump truck. That was a 74? Yeah. Yes. It was a 74 Peterbilt dump truck. That was the last project that my friend Cliff did before he passed on. And that had a Silver Series Detroit in it. I think that was an 8V71. No, it could be an 8V92. So, and that thing was pretty turned up. I think it was like 425 horsepower. And then old Cliff got his buddy from the Upper Peninsula, which if you drive, it's 4 hours from here to drive to the Upper Peninsula. That's just going to St. Ignace. So that is going across the Lower Peninsula, drive across the Mackinac Bridge. First town you get to off of the highway is St. Ignace. 4 hours. And Cliff's buddy from the Upper Peninsula come down, and he spent the summer painting that dump truck. And the paint booth was just 2 semi-trailers in the backyard in at Cliff's place. And they had 2 old aluminum-sided ribbed semi-trailers pulled in, and then they just took tarps and they tarped it off, and that was the paint booth. And that's where all the body work was done. The tractor got painted a beautiful shade of burgundy, and then that old Uper was a striper too, and he did all the striping on the doors, and it said, and it was Cliff, his last name, and Son Excavating, and it looked awesome. And the on the air intake, or the or on the air intake on the hood, he had drawn Tasmanian Devil, like he had ate an excavator, because he had the bucket arm sticking out of his mouth and his cheeks were full. And I never remember the truck being done with a box on it. And but it ran and drove, and it had a close ratio box. So to turn the damn thing was this. Like 20 times. Okay, we made the turn. All right, take it back. And my God, and it had, I don't even remember what it had for a transmission in it. It had aluminum cross members in it to make it lighter. And because I remember them taking them out and welding them up to repair them, because they were starting to get a little punky. And then it ended up getting sold. And the crazy thing of all is, many years later, I was talking to my friend JMO, who's a huge diesel guy, and I'm talking about Cliff, because he was probably arguably one of the most intelligent gearheads I ever met. And I was saying how much I was talking about this Peterbilt dump truck. And one day he sends me pictures, and he goes, "Do you know what this truck is?" And it was that Peterbilt. It still said Cliff last name and Son on the door. It was that shade of burgundy, still had Taz on it. And I'm going, it's a little worse for wear, but she's still who she is. And I'm like, that is the truck. Where did you find it? A friend of a friend just happened to talk about having that truck. And he remembered the name from me talking about it. So it ended up going down by Jackson, Michigan, which is like an hour and a half, 2 hours away, like an hour and a half away. And yeah, how cool was that? It didn't have the Silver Series in it anymore. It had an 8V71 in it. And the best part is, because that was a father and son project, my friend and his dad Cliff worked on that. Well, beautiful thing is that the people who got that tractor was another father and son team, and they were going to get her up and going. So last I knew, it was another father and son project. But how cool is that? You never think you'd run into something yet again. Yeah, the power liner with the 8V72. Yeah, he took that thing for a rip too. There was a Silver Series 450 horse. Yep. Between the neighbor's roadway and the yellow light, he should have went. Yeah, big trucks are like that. Yeah, superliners or power liners are cool. Well, look at that big Buzzin' Dozen that they got up and going and made run after all those years. Hey, Fox dude. All right, I will be right back. I'm going to go get some more disodium or dihydrogen monoxide. coming. I'm coming. I have returned. Boop doop doo 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 doo. All right. Yeah, big trucks are definitely like that. It was just, you never think you'd see it again. And so it's pretty cool because it's like a ghost. There is a towing company, and they still have their old junkyard, and it's across the road from the towing company, and it's I wrecked a car, and I wrecked my 87. Yeah, I wrecked my 87 Dodge Shadow, and they ended up taking it. It was total. I mean, to me, it was totaled then, and I want to go there and look through their selection and see if that car is there. I would crap myself because I'll know my car. Oh man. Oh yeah. Old rigs were definitely more personalized. Nice. Yeah, there was a guy. He's a really great pinstriper, and he's up out of the Grand Rapids area. And he at one time was making winter fronts for tractors, but he'd make them look like tuxedos with the black and then the boutonniere and everything. And then all you would do is tighten it up if you needed it warmer, or open them up if you needed to run a little cooler. But yeah, he would hustle those things and make actually some pretty good coin. And it took him talking about it, and I remember seeing one or two of those custom winter fronts, but most of the time it was like the winter front from the manufacturer. A lot of them were international, and they said they were white, and they said international on them in red. I remember a lot of those. There was a lot of internationals running around Chicago in the 80s. We had a Ford. Well, they also had some old internationals too. The old 13 letters boop spreaders. My dad drove truck for a company in the 80s that ran, in the 90s too, that ran overseas containers from Grand Rapids to Chicago and back. And that's all my dad did for decades, was drive to Chicago every day and then do a bunch of work running around Chicago and then drive home. Yep, 13 letter manure spreaders. That's international, international. In 1989, I'm just a little kid, and my dad was next in line because new trucks at the company went by seniority, and Dad was up on the list. And in 1989, it was his turn to get a new truck, and my dad got a 89 Ford Aeromax, and it was battleship gray, and they were all hand striped by the same striper. All of this company's trucks were all striped by one guy, and no, it had a Cummins in it. Oh yeah, international sightliners. Yup. No cat power, big cam, 400 big cam Cummins, and she just get right out and move. That was a 100-mile-an-hour tractor all day, and I know it was. I was in it. That truck was fast. but all trucks were like a dark gray, and then they were all hand striped by the same guy in 2 tones of blue, and it was medium blue, and then dark blue, and they were hand lettered, airfoils, doors, ICC numbers, the whole thing. And then the numbering system at the company was the unit, year by how many, or how many by the year. So in 89, they bought 4 trucks. And then there was 189, 289, 389, and 489. And Dad had 189. And I don't know who was more proud. That was my dad's first new tractor, brand new. And I don't know who was more proud of Dad's new tractor, him or me, because I'm a little kid, and my dad's brand new truck. You couldn't do nothing to me, man. This is a brand new truck. It had a tweed interior in it. It was a nice, actually pretty nice truck. So the company ended up really only wanting to buy 3 trucks in 89, and then the local truck dealer called Duffler's, the Ford, they Aeromax was top of the line too. Aeromax was getting up there because you still had like the L9000s that didn't have the aero package. So the Aeromax, you got the big airfoil, and then sometimes you got the airfoils around the cab, but not always. But usually with an Aeromax, you for sure got the airfoil. That was a great looking truck. Yeah, LTL 9000s. Yes, the 9000 series was top of the line with with the big square headlights, and I think a better looking tractor. I have a soft spot in my heart for my dad's 89, but an LTL 9000 of the same year, 89, I'd have to have that because it's just a good looking truck. Damn, it's a good looking truck. There was a company that out of Ionia, Michigan called Ionia Manufacturing, and they made, or I'm sorry, not Ionia Manufacturing, I'm sorry, American Bumper, called American Bumper, and they made bumpers. And there was a company that I ended up working for out of high school that was just north of the town that I grew up in. So American Bumper would send out, they had a whole fleet of LTL 9000s in white, and they all had the same muffler on them. And those things, they must have been all equipped the same. Anyways, those things sounded as good as they looked. And every morning waiting for the bus for school, they would cut through from Ionia, through my town, to go north to the stamping plant. And so when I'm a kid in junior high, and I'm waiting for the bus, and there goes one of those American Bumper trucks, and I'm like, yeah, I love those trucks. Well, it got to be they started stepping up their orders there, so I'd see 1 or 2. Well, one day I started paying attention to unit numbers and see, because it wasn't always the same tractors. There were 6 of them, and one day, only once, they all rolled in at the same time like a parade for me. Just for me. I was like, yeah, it's like 1990. But yeah, I got to see all 6 of them. Your F-150 was built at Louisville Truck. Dad pulled a low boy with an LTL for a while, 400 cat, and a 13 speed. That's right. I want to say there was a 13 or an 18. It was a 13 in Dad's Aeromax. Big Jerry, he had the 88 with no airfoil, and his 88 had an 18. Yeah, had the 18. Because he'd cry about how the extra lever on his shifter. I'm tired of it. I want a 13 speed. He was never happy with anything. Yeah, I've always had a soft spot in my heart for semi trucks. But I was thrown into it though. I mean, trucking was what my dad did. I was just it was how things were. Our life was part diesel. Well, I mean, before I was in school, my dad worked for a service company that installed and removed trash compactors. He had a service truck, and then he would drive them across the nation and pull them and set them, and did that for a few years. Well, I'm just a little kid, and they ended up buying a 74 Peterbilt straight truck with a sleeper. And then they took it to St. Louis to Jerdan, and they put a tilt. They had Jerdan put a tilt bed on it like a tow truck would have, and so that was my dad's service rig. So this is the early '80s. So they sent the truck to Jerdan, and then it got painted and striped, and it got the tilt bed on it at Jerdan in St. Louis. And then Dad and we flew when we had to take 3 different planes. I think we went from Grand Rapids to Chicago, Chicago to somewhere else, and then somewhere else to St. Louis. And we got a ride to Jerdan picked us up and took us to the facility. I remember going and touring Jerdan, and I remember I could hardly hold all the swag they gave me. They just gave me everything that was flyers for like trade shows and stuff. And we got in that truck and we come home with it, and we drove it home, and it was striped out. It was company colors, and the company's colors were butternut tan, brown, and orange. And it's still the company. It's the buildings of this company are still those colors today. And it actually looked good though. I know those 3 colors don't really sound all that great, but it actually looked nice on the truck. Lettered on the door. And the best thing is my dad's handle was on the front of the cab. It said its unit number below the driver, and on the passenger side, it said my dad's handle at the time. And then, so we literally got in the truck and we drove it from Jerdan to a rest stop. And Dad had a Polaroid camera, and he's taking pictures of his new truck and new to him truck. And I am, to give you an idea how little I am, I've got my hand on the sidewall of the Peterbilt, on the top of the sidewall, and my arm is straight out beside me. So I've got my palm on the sidewall of my dad's tractor. And Dad's like, "Don't touch the tire." Okay, too late. And then my hand was all dirty. Yes, class of 77. Yes. I miss that. Those little nods. I'm happy that truck names still live on. And the back of the cab names are still, I enjoy reading those. You know, my friend Jason, when he had the 83 Kenworth or K100 Aerodyne, his tractor name was the Antique Technique. CB handles are the best truck names. Yes. Oh, and just some guys had some really great CB handles, and other guys had the like Ghost Rider. Do you know how many Ghost Riders are out there? Just there. Another one was Viper and Copperhead. That's right. I was the Doughboy. I come up with this probably in the early 80s. And he's like, "What's your handle?" Dad says to me jokingly, and I said, "The Doughboy." So I've been the Doughboy since I was, God, I was a kid. I was like 8. Copperhead, yep. Yep, Ghost Rider, Copperhead, Viper, all the cool names. Some of my dad's co-workers, we had a guy, he didn't say a whole lot. He was real quiet. He was a great guy, but he didn't talk much. And they called him Yakety Jack. And one of the guys, they were telling him that if he used wax on his coax for his CB, it would put more, basically fire down the wire and make his antennas work better and signal, get a better broadcast. And he was actually polishing those things out, and everyone laughed because, not true, that won't happen, but it was funny to see him do it. So he got the handle of Waxer. There was Whiplash, Taz, Cactus, worth a try. Well, especially everyone was talking to him about it and saying how he should do that. And he's like, "Okay, I will." Copperhead, because Cobra didn't sound good enough to me. And the new Cobra 2 Mustang, that it had to be the Cobra 2. Well, no, the Cobra 2 was a hatchback. Cobra 2 was never a trunk car. So never mind. I was going to say it's got to be a hatchback. A guy that it's kind of funny now that he's a Mopar guy, but he used to have a Ford, and a guy I know, a kid in junior high, holding the cylinder of his moped because someone told him. Burned a hole in the cylinder of his moped because someone told him it would make it faster. Yeah, they'll definitely make it faster. Just like the old Yamaha oil-injected stuff. If you're used to the power level of your 2-stroke oil-injected Yamaha, and all of a sudden, out of the middle of nowhere, the thing just gets a newfound set of some cojones, and you're like, "Man, this thing is running badass." And you've got all sorts of extra power. What has happened is the oil injection pump has no, or you're out of oil. Yeah, the oil injection pump has died, and you're running on full fuel with no oil, and she'll be mean for a little while, and then she will die. Good night. Years ago, a friend of mine went on a snowmobiling trip up in the Upper Peninsula, and then one of the guys burned a hole in the piston on the trails, and the guy was like unperturbed. It was like, "Man, that sucks. The weekend shop, this, that, the other thing." And he's like, "Let's get her back to the hotel room." Okay, all right. So they're getting him towed back to the hotel room, and he makes a few phone calls, and the dealer's still open. It's a long drive away, but the dealer's still open. He throws his bud some cash, and he goes, "Go here, go there, get the parts, and I'll have it tore down." He takes the engine out of his snowmobile. He brings it into his hotel room. He puts it in the bathtub, and he proceeds to dismantle the whole thing. And he replaced the piston, put it all back together, put it all back into the snowmobile, took it for a test rip. Everything was fine. And then that was like at 9:30 at night. So they went out and had beers and dinner and everything and got up the next morning, went and rode. It's like anyone else would have loaded that thing on the trailer and been, and that's how the luck of the draw is. But no, fixed it in the bathtub of a hotel room. That's motivation. Things much worse probably happened in that bathtub last week. Field fix almost. Hell yeah. At least you're in some place. And my buddy was saying that the guy that was doing the work, and he was saying, he goes, oh yeah, definitely. We used to do it in the bathtub. That way, if you leak anything, you don't end up replacing the carpet in your hotel room. Ask me how I know. They would lay out tarps and do it on the floor of the hotel room. And then somehow they ruined the carpet. And that's when he decided to throw it in the bathtub. I mean, you got those people that are just, I don't know. I know some guys that are like hunting for problems. I know a guy who loves Bronco 2s. That body style, from the Explorers to the Bronco 2s to everything in between, of that era of vehicle. He's had 2 doors, 4 doors. He's probably had 25 of them. And he finds them and he drives them and he gets them all figured out. He'll get them running just right again. And the more they fight him, the more he loves it. But once they're running and driving and not acting up anymore and they become a reliable vehicle again, and then he doesn't get interested in them anymore, no longer is interested in them, and they end up leaving. It's like he just keeps, he knows all the symptoms, he knows what to do, he's got all the parts. The one thing he will do, though, is when he gets a super duper clean one, he will update his fleet. He's got like 6 of his own, and they're always getting better. He's always finding a nicer one. He had a 2-door one, and it was black, and it has gray, like 3 gray letters across it big. It's like XPL or something like that. It's not like XLT or anything obvious. It's something like X. It's X something with 3 letters. But anyways, that's a pretty nice vehicle. Yeah, 2.8, Clackety 2.8, yeah. Neighbor across the road from me had a Bronco 2, owned it for 30 years and finally sold it. Yeah, this guy's had to have had 25 of them. And he likes drinking Stroh's beer. And so his daughter is like uber talented. And they were at a family barbecue, and he was just joking to his daughter at the bonfire that he wanted her to paint Dale Gribble on the back of his spare tire cover on his Bronco. And before she left, she had taken the spare tire cover, and she did it says it's got Dale Gribble, and he's got a smoke in his hand because this guy chain smokes nonstop. So he's got either a smoke in his face or a smoke in his hand, and he's got a Stroh's. You can clearly read he's holding a Stroh's beer, and it says Rusty Shackelford on it, all hand painted. It is awesome. That is a hell of a daughter right there. Yeah, he had this one Battleship Gray Bronco 2 that just it kicked and fought, and he just loved it. He liked the problem. He liked figuring it out, I guess. I'm kind of the same way with Coleman lanterns. I just like to get them up and rolling, and basically once they run right again, I'm like, oh, okay, I'll put it away. We need to burn a lantern. Not tonight. But before summer's through, we'll start bringing lanterns out and burning them during lives. Because why not? PCs and early 90s cars. Yeah. I still have for that OBD1, I still have an AutoZone, little black and white AutoZone booklet on how to use your engine code reader, and I still have one of the AutoZone keys. It looks like a regular car key for your keychain, but all it is just two spades, side by side terminals. I still have one of those in my toolbox. I'll have to dig it out sometime. That's probably I probably had that 28 years. Yeah, good times. Yeah, the old GM OBD2 where you plugged in and then you hear it go brrr, then the check engine light would flash. I remember doing that with my 90 S10, 83 Olds Custom Cruiser, 90 Bonneville SSE. Nice car. I missed that car. I ended up rolling it one winter in the median. Car didn't fare so well. I lived though, thank God. So 83 Olds, 90 S10, 90 Bonneville. My mother-in-law's 92 Buick Century. I think that's it. Oh, 89. No. Yeah, that's it. Battery running low. Bye, Duz. Thanks for stopping in, man. Boy, my Tigers are really doing good right now. We're doing really good. We've had a big hot streak. Hope we can keep it together. Fell body. Ooh. That's power pine saw, baby. You should have seen when I pulled this valve body out, this whole top of it was covered in this shmoo. And yeah, it worked out great. I'm delivering stuff through my broken and cracked window of version 9.5 version Fuso truck. Wonder how long that transmission set. Nathan, what's going on? Hey, Nathan, check it out. 727 parts, nice and clean. This is the upper. Boiled it in pine sol, so it's pine sol fresh. Dean is Jake breaking through small towns. I don't know how long the transmission sat, but it was a driveline that 6% had picked up. It had sat long enough for the 383 that this transmission was connected to completely rust up. Like it rusted through the valley pan and just rusted up the whole interior of the engine. It was unusable. And then here's the base, here's the lower valve body. Notice how nice and clean it is. Oh, I have video of the boiling. It's I'm mid video on this. While I'm building this and doing all this, I'm videoing it. Yeah, it's just a cheap soup pot. Same thing that I boil carburetors in. It's just a cheap soup pot, and then a bottle of pine sol, and then a bunch of water, and then just let her go. And because it's in the house, what I end up doing is I kind of moderate my gas. So I've got a boil happening, but it's not like a splatter boil. You know what I mean? Otherwise, I'd be cleaning up the kitchen every 5 minutes or sooner. So get a good rolling boil happening, but not like splattering all over the place, and just let it eat. And I just kept adding hot water to it as it went on, because the water level would drop. The whole house smells like Pine Sol. Worst things to smell like. Yeah, I'm very impressed with how well it did, because it had this goopy schmoo in the bottom of the circuits on the lower. Well, it had that same goopy schmoo on this. And then, earlier today I took my converter. I got a used converter, and I finally got it turned upside down in a bucket and draining. So I decided that Cope recommends trick shift for Chrysler 727. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And he says 12 quarts, 3 gallons, and a bone dry transmission. So that's a case of fluid. So I'll probably be putting a case of fluid in this thing when I finally install it, which is best price I found is the case. 12 quarts for like $135 for trick shift. You can get the 3 1-gallon jugs, but that's like $150. So it's a better price by like $15 to buy the case. No, I'm not going to Power Tour. I might go, well, because it's coming up to Joliet, and maybe I'll go out to Joliet. The year that Power Tour was happening Power Tour had come out up to my local dragway, and I couldn't tear myself away. I was getting ready for No Name, and I couldn't tear myself away from getting ready for No Name to just spend a few hours and go watch all the cool cars drive in and out of Martin Dragway, which kind of was upsetting. We did, however, when we headed out for no, it was the day it was the day before we were to head out for No Name, was when the stop was at Martin Dragway. Because when we actually were headed out, and before we had the ball joint failure happen on the highway, we ended up seeing a Javelin drag and drive car, which was really cool to see. And when I first passed them, they were, you're going there tomorrow. Trying to get the wagon ready. Nice. That wagon is so good. Then again, your New Yorker's so good. Yeah, I finally got to go through that boneyard, and that's a cool boneyard, Nathan. Way cool. That yard's probably got 10 or 11 E-bodies in there, Challengers or Cudas. And you'd probably need all 11 of them to make one car, and you'd still need parts. But they've got them. That wagon's great. I love the color. I love its shape. I like wagons anyway. My ex-girlfriend's dad, my ex-girlfriend's grandfather owned the Pontiac dealership in the town that I went to high school in. And when he ended up closing the business, one of the vehicles that he had brought home because nobody bought it was a 1960 Pontiac Safari wagon. And my ex-girlfriend's dad bought it from his father. and he was actually the first person to title it, and he bought it in like the late 80s or the early 90s from his dad. White with a blue interior, no rust, beautiful car, 389, 4 barrel, Pontiac Safari. So he had a black 69 GTO, and my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend's mom had a 74 Le Mans that she bought brand new from that family dealership when my ex-girlfriend's parents were dating. She bought the car in 74, new from that dealership. And so you walk in the garage, and he's got Pontiac ephemera all over the place, the big Pontiac flag and everything. And he stands by his black GTO. It's in the front of the shop, and then next to it is the Le Mans, and in the very back is the wagon. And I walk up and I look, and I'm like, oh yeah, I really like the GTO. And I made a beeline straight back for the Safari wagon. He's like, everyone wants to look at the GTO. You could see it on his face. He's like, he doesn't want to look at the GTO. And I'm like, GTO's nice, but I see those all the time. Well, what's up with this beautiful wagon? The only thing that was different on the car was my ex-girlfriend's dad had put a set of Pontiac rally wheels on it, the PMD rally wheels, which really set that car off. And then my ex-girlfriend drove that car in high school drags, which was pretty cool. She ended up roaching the transmission in it. Big surprise there. That big old battle tank. That 400 didn't stand a chance. It's 1960. Was it a 400? Yeah, it was probably a turbo 400. I don't know. TH400 switch pitch? I have no idea. Well, wagons have been getting rare, and I'll tell you why, Nathan, is because the wagons were the beasts of burden that just got 1960, probably a Hydromatic. Okay. The beasts of burden were always just cast to the side. And wagons they served a purpose, and nobody wanted them, and they just languished. And then usually the big old battle wagons were the first things to go with engine and doghouse owners. Yep. Or they were just sent across the scales because they weighed so much. You know, you want a good paying load, take out a few of them wagons, you'll be fine. Each of those prior, 5,800 pounds a piece, 6,000 pounds a piece. Roto Hydromatic. I don't know. All I know is that my ex-girlfriend, roached the transmission in it. Oh, engine and doghouse donors. But I could totally see it being a storage unit, like a van. For sure. I had a guy, when I had my 83 Olds Custom Cruiser wagon, I had a guy come up to me in a Meijer parking lot, which is like Walmart, and come up to me one night in the Meijer parking lot, handed me a business card. He was a drywaller. He's like, when you're done with that car, I'll buy it. And he says the greatest thing, he loves them. He had a whole fleet of them, and you could haul whole sheets of drywall in it. It keeps the rain off of everything. And even better is, when he walked away, I went and looked, and he got into like an old Chevy wagon, same body style. Meijer has a little more class than Walmart. I'll agree to that. Meijer's HQ is half an hour away from me, 40 minutes away from me. Yeah. Born and raised here. Fred Meijer was the founder. He is passed on, but yeah. The old Meyer logo is a little Dutch boy, and he's wearing the proper blue and white clothes and that children would wear of an old era. And man, what's going on, Destroyer? Welcome. Nice. Hi. At that junkyard I was just talking about that Nathan and I have been to, there is an old Meyer trailer there that has the old Dutch Boy logo on it. I'll do it next time I go there. I'm definitely doing a video on it because I barely remember that from when I was a wee lad. And where are all my purchases? 4 Goodyear Wrangler, 235/75 R15s on the OEM. Dutch Boy paints. Of that style, yeah. There's Holland, Michigan, out by the lake shore, is really proud of their Dutch heritage, and there's a lot of Dutch influence over there. New Guys Guitar, Tom, what's happening? I'm really happy that Destroyer showed up. That's cool. Yeah, I have Dutch Boy brand lead bars, which was real popular back in the day. And my your house is kind of Dutch looking. Nice. We got a lot of especially on laying down. Oh, back is still messed up. You know, Tom, chiropractor. Chiropractor's your friend. Find the right one, though. Find a chiropractor that isn't a milker, because you've got the chiropractor that wants to see you next week for the rest of your life. And my chiropractor, she's like, we've figured out that every 3 weeks is perfect for me. And so I get adjustment every 3 weeks, and life is good. But yeah, you got some that are trying to sell you this huge expensive package, and then they just bleed you dry. And then, so be careful on the chiropractor you find, but find the right one, and chiropractor is great. He married a Dutchie. Coperino, what's going on? Oh, I didn't get to show you this. Check out that upper valve body. That's the power of Pine Sol, baby. I boiled it in Pine Sol in a soup pot on my stove. Of course, the soup pot came from the Dada stove. But very nice and clean. Very impressed with. And that's our upper. And then here is my lower. Not bad. Not bad at all. Thank you. I ended up, after I soaked it in the hot tub, wear the valve body on a necklace with my old school jukebox. Sup, yo? I'm the valve body court jester, Michigan, bitch. Flava Doug. Oh, I'll be a door name, but it'll be a little flat. Yeah, boy. Monab, the Yas Manufacturing Table Vice, 125 pounder, made somewhere between 1950 and 1980 before they moved to Holland, Michigan. That's right. I thought that sounded familiar. Yeah, they're still making anvils and stuff out of there. Before they moved to Holland, Michigan. That's right, Holland, Michigan. I love my chiropractor. She turned my plantar fasciitis. Yeah, those are no fun. Stretching helped me helped a lot of mine. The podiatrist just wanted to give me anti-inflammation, which have killed my liver. Exactly, exactly. I really am not crazy about getting a bunch of pills pushed on me, for sure. Um, yeah, plantar fasciitis sucks. I had it in both of my heels at the same time. Getting up in the morning was the worst when I was all tight. And yeah, I couldn't walk around for the first 15 minutes. The vice in the shop is junk. Yeah, oh, it's jank. Yeah, I understand that. I have a blacksmith's vice that is meant to lean up against the wall or the table, and its jaws work like this. It's hinged at the bottom. So instead of an actual vice, I picked it up only because my grandfather was a maintenance man for years and years and years, and his vice was a um that style of vice, Farrier's vice, and his was on a mounted welded to a spare tire. So it was sturdy enough to actually use, but it was portable, so you could take it around the shop. And that's exactly what I'm going to do to mine. Oh, cast in Muskegon. That's the only reason you know. Oh, okay. Muskegon is a big money making town. A lot of stuff was made in Muskegon. Continental engines were made in Muskegon or Detroit. AMF bowling equipment, Brunswick, made in Muskegon. They made balls there, bowling balls there. They made bowling equipment there. There was a lot of industry in Muskegon. There still is, but not as much as there used to be. That used to be a money making town. Muskegon's a cool place. It's an old place. It's got some scary parts to it. Muskegon still has a drive-in theater. It's called the Getty Drive-In, and they show as you park on the complex. They have 5 screens that they'll be playing the movie on, so you get pointed in the right direction. They'll have this area pointed this way and so on and so forth. But if you actually are watching the movie, you can look out across and see that it's on other screens too. An Okie from Muskegon. Actually, there is a brand of gasoline called Muskego, MUS-KE-GO, Muskego. And it has a Native American in a big headdress on it. And yeah. Okay, I'm going to be right back. I got to get something to drink. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm back. Edwin Muskie. Hey, Justin, what's happening? Justin and I had quite the afternoon on Sunday. We went and worked on the Nova, And then the last time we worked on the Nova, we got a new rear brake line for the brake line. We're doing brake lines on the Nova. And we got the new flex line put in. Then we realized that the brake line that we ran to it was the wrong size. We needed it bigger. So we ended up Justin ended up taking the brake line completely out. And then we happened to have two pieces of steel tubing laying on the bench, and Justin formed a whole new brake line, and it's running from the proportioning valve all the way back to the rear axle. So he took regular steel line before we had him with nickel copper, but we just happened to have a couple pieces of steel and a union for it. And so Justin ended up forming a whole new brake line, and then we got it all installed. And then we've got it hooked up on the soft brake line on the rear, and then we go to hook it up to the proportioning valve on the front. The parts store did not have the piece we needed. Okay. Justin, I'm thinking that that one line that came in that inline tube kit that we couldn't use, I think that has the ferrule that we need. So we can steal it from that, because we're not going to be using it anyway. So I think we'll be able to flare that on, and we'll be in business. The parts store did not have the piece we needed. Did you go to the AutoZone, Justin? Righteous. Justin's word is, we're going to get this big bad John going. This John going. We're going to do this to this big John. Check out this big John. Either too big or too small. Gotcha. That sucks. Well, hey, you tried. That's what matters. We'll get it figured out. So yeah, I was thinking about it today at work, and we should be able to steal it off of that other line. I think. Fingers crossed. That'd be pretty sweet, huh? And so then we'll finally have the brakes buttoned up, and then we'll be able to bleed it. That's going to be fun. And then I'm live on my phone. Ma. But the beautiful thing is that the new line that we've been up, because we use the old line as our template. As a matter of fact, we had the original line that we cut out of it, and then we had the other line that we took out made with the nickel copper, and then we had it all laid out on the bench, and then Justin's using them together as a template, and he just bent the whole new line. He didn't mess up the line or nothing. He did a great job. Oh, okay. Well, still send me a picture of the vise. I want to see it. Yeah, those big daddies are cool. But yeah, I won't be able to share with the team, unfortunately. Or if that can be done, I'm not smart enough to do it. Yeah, I love those big vices. Yeah, Muskegon's a big town. And there's a ship there. Or is it a submarine? It's called the USS Silversides. I think it's a sub. I think it's a sub. But it's a USS Silversides, and it's docked in Muskegon. And then there is up by Onekama, there is a old rail car steamship. It's called the City of Milwaukee, and it has a whole tail end that opens up, and it still has tracks. You can look inside it, and where they would just put rail cars with whatever in it and close the door and take it across Lake Michigan. Oh, the sub and an LST also in Muskegon. Okay. Okay. So one of them is the Silver Sides. Thank you, Salty Badger. Yeah, Muskegon's a cool place. What is car keys? Okay. I'm going to go look at the picture. Oh, there it is. Holy wow, that thing skookum is frig. That'll do. That'll do well. It's got a nice flats where the keys are. That's a nice flat spot. I wonder if it's machined to where you could like use that as an anvil if you needed to. Yeah, that's skookum. What'd you give for that puppy? Hopefully you got it for like $20. Free. Take it out of here. I don't want it. Yeah, it's kind of a Detroit diesel alpine green color. Free 50. Woo! All right. You need to come across one of those a week. That thing's got some serious beef. Is it straight jawed, or can you loosen it and then position the jaw in case you need to work on pipe or anything like that? Even if it's fixed jaw, free 18. Hey, if it's free, it's definitely worth saving up for. Take care, Nathan. Good seeing you, man. Yeah, if I make it, I'll be there. Or I don't know. I want to go, but we'll see how things work out. That's a hell of a drive. Turn on the fan. The humidity has been up and down all day today. It's just been it'll like threaten rain, and then it won't rain, and then it'll rain hard for like 10 minutes, and then it's done. And coming home from work, you could drive through places that it had just rained, but it wasn't raining anymore. Starting to dry up just a little bit. Yeah. Humidity in Michigan. Gotta love it. There are days in August where I swear you wear the air. Fixed jaws, but it swivels. Oh yeah. Being able to, yeah. Hey, that's a good skookum unit. Good job, y'all. Does it work fully as it should? No sticks or bad spots or messed up threads or weld and cut marks, and because I've seen some vices that look like they've been put through hell and back 10 times, where they go right into the actual jaw of get that angle right to cut the whatever, and they're cutting into the jaw of the vise, and it's like, come on, man, really? I mean, I understand you got to do what you got to do, but at the same note, don't purposely destroy stuff just to get there. As long as they secure your work adequately, yes, this is true. Nice. Yeah, go check out the community page for Mopars, Mustangs, and minivans. That's Damien. Hey, Damien, and Ma, I've got a video idea. Get Damien to dress up like a sleazy car salesman from long ago and sell cars. I think he'd be a hoot. Come on down to Damien's Motors where we're cutting prices in half because I'm crazy. I fell and bumped my head in the shower this morning. I'm crazy. Crazy making deals. Looks barely used. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen some vices that like when Richard Rawlings does that. He did that to sell shirts. 100% spun cotton from the finest cotton fields of East Bongo Squeegee. Did that. Here comes the rain. It's not raining right now. Oh, I finally got the recipe again from my mother-in-law. She gave me this stuff. It works great on oil stains in your driveway, like if your truck leaks or car leaks. Spray this on it and it'll... Hi, Tom. Free steaks running in the yard. And if you have an oil spot, you can spray it with this and it'll help wash it away. And then it also works because I have an asphalt driveway. Well, it ends up being I get grass in it and stuff. And it works great as a weed killer. And all it is a gallon of vinegar, a cup of Epsom salt, and a few squirts of Dawn dish soap in a pump up sprayer. And it works great. I mix it up 2 gallons at a time. It's supposed to be sunny here tomorrow, and I'm going to get up and bolt on my mag wheels. That's right. Yeah. Are they all polished out, looking spectacular? Ain't nothing better than mags. Love slot wheels. Classic look. Exactly. Is there anything Dawn can't do? Yeah. I love Dawn. Yes. The Dawn Power Wash is pretty good stuff too. Those emulsifiers and stuff they put in it really does a good job. They have the shiny look, not the dull gray. Hey, that's that's better than most. Yeah, you could spend 4 months. You could spend a month polishing a wheel and spend 4 months doing it, and they'll look awesome. Man, they'll look awesome. But it's a lot of work. A friend of mine polished out his aluminum wheels one winter, and he burned up 3 cheap plug-in-the-wall drills doing it. But when he got them all done, he clear coated them, and that was probably one of the best things he did. Dr. G, what's happening? I'm late because I was outside rhino coating the inside of some freshly powder coated fenders for the trailer. Masking with painter tape tests my patience. I, believe it or not, I like masking. I actually kind of, I know it's weird. I enjoy it. In certain realms, I don't care for it. I like to get one of those mother's Powerballs. I don't really care for the Powerball. I don't really like it. I, they're okay. They're okay. Um, when I painted, reprimed Lady Dougster's Beetle, masking that thing off, for the most part, I really enjoyed. It was the tedious stuff like getting the tape line right on the gasket without, I didn't want to have any paint on any of the gaskets. So I took an extra long time and made sure that I got the gaskets fully covered. And yeah, I actually kind of like masking. I don't know why. I think one of my favorite things to do is unwrap the car after you've painted it. It's like Christmas. Unwrap your present. All the work you did to make it all nice. Now you're like just ripping it off. As a matter of fact, changing oil in my Craftsman 4-stroke weed eater. Nice. I have to go back and watch your videos on polishing the tunnel ram. I want to do that in my Torque 2 intake. Okay, the best piece of advice I can give you on that, Ma, is whatever you start your base, wherever you take it down to, because that's going to be, is it smooth or is it rough cast? Because you're going to have to sand through all of that. You had an interesting night. Please tell, Mr. Dutch. Please tell. Start with like an 80 grit and then really do a good job with the 80, making sure that you get all of the everything out, get everything shaped the way you want. Because as whatever you do with the 80, when you go up to your next grits, as you go up, anything that you missed with the 80 gets amplified as you go up. So it doesn't look like that big of a deal in 80 grit. By the time you hit it with 1000, you're like, oh my God, that looks terrible. Well, I guess I'll run downstairs and, well, no, I'm not going to. That's a dusty, aluminum dusty mess down there. I'm polishing a set of Justin's Mickey Thompson valve covers for a small block Chevy. Oh, I put on the new shear key and the Briggs and Stratton on my John Deere push mower. I think the John's crank is bent. Oh, that's bad. That's real bad. Caught a silver Honda CRV scoping out my property and taking pictures of my vehicles. Went to the front door and they took off. I hopped in the truck and chased them 8 miles doing 85 and lost them. Holy crap! I think because I was running out of daylight, the reward to clean of a clean job is worth it. I agree. I need to learn all I can about removing partial clear coat and corrosion from 40-year-old rims. Ooh, yeah. Is it aluminum wheels? Dutch, that's crazy. Wonder why they were taking pictures of your shit. That's scary. That's scary. Wait, I'm running 6-year-old car parts. Horizon. Oh, okay. Silver CRP, that's Wilburn. So I'm hunting a Honda now. Took the batteries out. Yeah. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, Midnight Auto is not welcome. Aluminum with partial clear coat came off now on rough corrosion. I think it will take forever. It'll take a long time, especially you're going to have to sand through all of that clear coat that's already on it and then get down to the bare aluminum. And if that aluminum wheel has like the GMT 400 aluminum the 5-point wheel, that had a machined finish on it. So you look at it, you can see where they ran the tool across it purposely to give it a uniform machined look. And if you're going to polish them out, you have to go in that direction. You can't go against it. You have to follow it like a record to get it all clean. It's a big pain in the butt. And aluminum polishing can be done, but it's a big pain in the butt. And wear breathing protection. Metallosis is no joke. Wear breathing protection. You don't want to be inhaling aluminum dust. Luckily, I just installed new security system Sunday with 50,000 lumens of security lights. Plus, there's the Henry security system as well. Golden boy. The Henry security system. Yes. Hi, hungry. I'm Doug. Some might call me Dougster. For the breathing protection. Yeah. Just get in there and start using your grits. Okay, not a Golden but a new 44. Still a great boomstick for sure. I like their policy of made in the USA or not at all. I think that's great. I wish there was more companies that were that way. Respirator has been purchased. Good. I actually, believe it or not, what I use when I work is a cloth COVID mask, and it does a really good job. Like, I'll be sanding and stuff. I now wear an apron while I work too. You're going to want to wear an apron because that aluminum dust gets everywhere. It'll get on in the pores of your hands as you're sanding and stuff. What I've usually have done, like for polishing aluminum, is start with like 80 grit and then 80 grit to 320, 600, 1,000, 1,500. And then I've got a 3,000 grit polishing cloth. Is that here? No. I do have my beloved 4/0 steel wool, though. No, the polishing cloth is downstairs in the workshop. Something's better than nothing. Side load 4570 as well. Yes, 4570 means bidness. Means bidness. Whoops, 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 whoops. Worked up an appetite driving 8590 in my CRV. Some dude wanted to race. I dusted him. I'm hungry. Bought it for playing with hydrochloric acid. Woo! Careful with the hydrochloric acid, please. Yeah, just keep when you sand your aluminum with your grit. When you step up to the next grit, you're not done until all of the previous sanding marks from the previous grit are gone, and then just keep moving forward. I've had it scratches and stuff in the Mickey Thompsons that I'm working with now, where I'm like, yeah, I think this is good enough, and then I'll start polishing it with the 320 and start to get some luster happening, and then you're already starting to see, yeah, I still need to go back and do some more work with the 80. So I keep 320/80, 320/80 until I'm satisfied with the base. Junkyard D, what's happening? Man, that video of the Mopars in the park was pretty cool. Junkyard D got to meet Daisy Duke, and she signed some cars for him. Very nice. She's still a lovely lady all these years later. Isn't that great? I bet she smelled nice. I bet she smelled nice. Yeah, the polish job that I did on the upper piece for the tunnel ram, it's okay. I guess you are always your own worst critic. So of course I'm like, oh, this could be so much better, but everyone else is like, it looks awesome. Come on now. I didn't pull a Biden sniff on her. No, I wasn't talking I wasn't talking about that. I just mean like you get close to her and you smell what she's got going on. I bet she smells nice. I hope so. No, she smells like Marlboros and and wild turkey. Whoa, I'm awake now. I bet you are. I bet you are. The storms don't seem to bother my red heeler Ruby, but our Kelpie that we used to have, Sadie Mae, she was just scared out of her mind when the lightning and the thunder and 4th of July fireworks was another one that would she'd just be a wreck. Sitting in the carport. Hey Ma, how's your finger? Your finger good from the other day when the chainsaw decided it needed to nibble on you? That's scary when that happens. That's scary. Let's see what it's doing. I don't think it's raining. Finger is fine. Good. Friendly to lightning and maybe a stray cow. Man, what smells so good? Yes, she's probably used to it because everywhere she goes, there's probably a line a million miles long. That is nice. That sit there and sign everything for him. That's great. That's nice to see. I got to meet Al Kaline, which is like one of the top tigers ever, and got to shake his hand and everything. That was pretty cool. That was 2018. Not so good. Suboptimal. Yes. Oh, Dean, your Sun engine tester that you have in your basement garage is so nice. It's a nice piece. I was very impressed when I seen that in your video. And remember, everyone, Dino is an ass with a car. He had a road sign that says "Pass with care," and somebody might have covered up a couple of letters. I don't know who. Oh, yeah. Well, remember, there could always be ribeye and burger and rib steak and filet mignon, sirloins, brisket. Um, oh yeah, chuck eye steaks. Those are my favorites. Yeah, beef. That's what's for dinner. Brisket. I think I got Dan's attention. Brisket. Oh, your mom makes a mean brisket. Good. There's been some briskets I've had that were just horrible, and other times you're like, "How did you do it?" And they're like, "Oh, it's a secret. I won't tell." You guys ever seen a Packers cut brisket? That is an entire brisket before it is processed into, what you like, a corned beef brisket where you can get a point cut or a flank or whatever. The Packers cut, it's like a tombstone of meat. And yeah, I've seen a couple of those get cooked up for some big parties, and those are pretty cool. It's like, man, that's a lot of beef right there. And the one guy, he must have spent 4 hours cutting all of the fat off of it, trimming everything. I was like, really? He like made love to that thing. The way I see it is fat. Yeah, fat makes flavor. That's beef butter right there. I was watching a Jonathan Winters and Dean Martin skit yesterday. Jonathan made an error at 3:30 minute mark, and he said they had a cow phobia. I've been having a problem with not full on gout, but my right big toe has been giving me problems about a month or so ago. So, and I noticed when I would eat steak, it would flare up the most. So I've kind of been cooling it on my beloved steak, and I miss steaks. I'm ready for a steak. From the Winters Bank family. Oh, really? That's interesting. So the Winters Bank family did well. That's interesting that he moved on. He's so funny, so inventive. Why don't you do scaffolding anymore? I suffer from acrophobia. In fact, someone offered me a scaffold tube. Scaffold is called a rigger in Australia. And I thought there's just people who drank a lot of beer. Crows land on scaffolding. Crows are amazing creatures. I've heard of people befriending crows, and if you make friends with the crows, they'll bring you gifts. And at first it'll be small things like just like a shiny pebble or something. And then all of a sudden they'll be bringing you dimes, nickels, quarters, dollars. They know we use money. And those little bastards will steal money and bring it to this person. It's like, really? He goes, oh yeah. He goes, I make hundreds of dollars of donations to charities from what the crows bring him. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but yeah, he donates all the proceeds that he's of his gifts. What amazing creatures. Crows are amazing. Ma, don't worry about that. You just do it yourself. You can do it. It's just a really fat deer. That's right. It is, yeah. Yeah, it only weighed in at like 1,600 pounds. That is a really big deer. See, it even had horns. See, it's a 2 point. It's a really big button buck. Really big. I have seen some really big does taken here in the great state of Michigan. They get big. I've seen some big bucks too, but I've seen some impressive does. One year, a guy took a buck from the old swamp buck, and he was just blacker than the ace of spades from running around all that swamp and all that rich black dirt and everything. And they figured out that he was in the swamp so much that he tasted like the swamp. They ended up throwing out that entire all that venison because it tasted like the swamp and they couldn't get it out of the meat. And he was a big old boy too. My uncle's property, when we would hunt there, the rules were as follows: non-typicals, meaning they don't have a beautiful symmetrical rat, take them. Does, take them. And if it's a buck with horns, if you shoot a button buck, just spikes, pay $50, the big buck fund. And whoever takes the biggest buck that year gets buck fund. And the rule is unless you want him mounted on your living room wall, don't take him. So that was pretty easy. And there are some really beautiful bucks getting taken out of there. The one that's in my uncle's brother's place that he has mounted is just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Sometimes, yeah, we've taken other swamp bucks that didn't have nearly that problem, but that one, I don't know if it was just where he was living and what he was eating and everything, but yeah, everything tasted like the swamp. We had a number of years ago, chronic wasting disease hit the deer population pretty hard, and that was sad to see. You'd find them all over by bodies of water because they were driven out of their mind for thirst, and they couldn't drink enough to satisfy it, and you'd find them perished by bodies of water. The DNR that year, it was horrible. Deer aren't acting like themselves. They're like zombies. The ones that are affected with the chronic wasting. It was bad for those years. Considering where bacon lives. This is true. This is true. Yeah, that old swamp buck. Well, we've also had what the diet is affects how the meat tastes too. You'll see if it's eating a lot of this, you'll have that. Just like is it Kobe beef? It's I think it's the Japanese that give a cow like a liter of beer every day or a liter of wine every day, or one or the other. And so it's like marinating it while it's alive. And the beef is really expensive and I guess really good. Kobe. I think it's Kobe, just like Kobe Bryant. But yeah, that's really interesting that every day the cow gets like a liter of wine or a liter of beer. Almost to the point where it's like, I wouldn't mind trying that. I'll tell you what, pigs like beer. Pigs love beer. My Worcestershire sauce. Yeah. I do like Worcestershire sauce or soy sauce. I'll marinate steaks in those. Put a bunch of dehydrated onion in there, some soy sauce or Worcestershire, and I'll suck all the air out of the bag so it's kind of like a Ziploc bag that's vacuum sealed. Yeah, just suck them shut. And yeah, that worked pretty good. Feed them Worcestershire sauce. W sauce. I heard some people call it W sauce. That way they don't have to sit there and say. And I guess that sauce is like 30 different ingredients, and it's got to age in a keg and all sorts of stuff. Speaking of aged in barrels, Werner's ginger ale still today is aged in barrels. Their extract is aged for a while before they actually make the soda. Corn feed is no good. I learned that grass-fed and finished is better than grass-fed grain finished. Australia does it right. Well, my great grandfather always insisted that you have them grass-fed, and then when you're just before you're ready to butcher, you would pen them up and then start ladling the grain to them. That is what he always did. So I don't know any different. Australia does it right. Okay. It was always, make them so they don't run around and help them. V sauce equals W sauce. V2 sauce. V2 is a W. Yes. W. Oh. Let's see if there's any. Yeah, you wonder if you could do the same thing. I know for a fact that pigs drink beer, no problem. The guy I knew when I was right out of high school, he was raising hogs, and he'd go get feed from all sorts of places. He was bringing home stuff that wasn't even expired yet, but it was really close. It was like a few days away from expiring, but it was still good stuff. And once upon a time, he come home, stuff still cold. He was going and picking this stuff up from like the stores and stuff. And he comes home with cases of ricotta cheese. And it was all, it was like going to expire in 3 days. And then we all said, screw it. It's still good. And we made ricotta. Or we made, can't think of the Italian dish. It uses a lot of manicotti. That's it, manicotti. Don't irrigate your place. We made manicotti, and then we gave a bunch of it to a friend of ours, and she made cannolis and stuffed them with that stuff, sweetened ricotta cheese. And man, that was awesome. Yeah, manicotti was really good. That was really good. What's up, Den of Dreams? Welcome to the live stream. A PI 55. Yeah. Don't feed milk cow Skittles. And no, strawberry milk does not come from strawberry cows and chocolate milk. No manicotti for you. Not for 1 year. Yeah, manicotti is good. Um, I learned, I used to work at a down home pizza shop, and we'd make manicotti there. And so once I realized how simple it was to make manicotti, oh, mascacholi too? Yes. Yes, mascacholi is really good. Yes. My friend's wife makes badass mascacholi. Yes. A lot of that, I can't have a lot of that pasta though. What do you call a three-legged cow? Easy to catch? What do you call a three-legged cow? I know what you call a no-legged cow. That's ground beef. Lean beef. Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. Usually, if you can spring for the ricotta, when I make a lasagna, I'll put ricotta and cottage in a lasagna. Um, One lady used to do a cooking show on public television, Lydia's Italy. She'd make a 100-layer lasagna uh, um, in a soup pot, and I always wanted to make it. What do you call a one-legged cow? What? Oh, a two-legged cow? Ricotta belongs in lasagna. I will agree to that. I think cottage works out well too. A little bit of both. Yeah, the 100 layer. And I think she had to put some toothpicks in it to kind of hold everything together. But yeah, she'd make it in a soup pot. And then, yeah, that was one of those things you're like, man, that looks good. And another thing I think belongs in a lasagna is spinach. I love spinach in a lasagna. What do you call a two-legged cow? Smells like a trap. What do you call a two-legged cow? Yeah. I knew it. I knew it. I called it. I'm like, smells like a trap. Yeah, the two-legged cows from the Far Side cartoons. I like those ones. They're all standing around in the field, and then you'll see somebody go car, and they all get down, then graze and stuff, and then clear, and then they're all. Your mom. Ba-da-ta! Yeah, a cow with no legs is ground beef. What do you call a dog that doesn't have any legs? It doesn't really matter. It's not like he's going to come to you anyway. I know that was mean. Well, it's funny. Or Matt. Matt. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Throw him in the pool. Bob. Hang him on the wall. Art. Throw him in a pile of leaves. Russell. Those were the corny jokes that my parents would tell us as kids. I know this one. Really? GM's putting the dimmer switch back on the floor? Why, Colleen? GM is on drugs. Well, they're having all sorts of problems with that one engine series because they're putting too light of an oil in it. This zero weight oil is. Truck still has the floor switch. Wow. Justin's Nova still has the floor switch. Shop truck was supposed. The wiring harness I have is for a floor switch, but yeah, I'll run a floor switch because I have the old 79 style steering column. Yeah, I'll still be running a floor switch in shop truck, even though it's supposed to be a 92. Yep. Yep. What's really funny is in the beginning, when the dimmer switch was invented, it was on the column. And everyone thought it was a huge distraction to drivers, and then it shouldn't be on the column and all this other stuff. So then they come up with the foot pedal solution. And then that went for a long time until European and Japanese cars started coming here, and they had the multifunction switch with the high beams on the column, and it went back onto the column. So it took a hiatus, but it came back. All right, we got a bunch of chat here. So, okay. I seen a mid-90s Ford medium duty, and it still had a floor-mounted high beam switch. Pointed it out to a younger friend who didn't know that he had a Monty SS. Favorite Far Side showed an old big snake with a wrinkled mouth and no teeth looking down at two small snakes, looking up and saying, "Grandpas, tell us when you crossed Route 66. Keep hitting my high beam switch when I'm using my park brake. Yes. What's cool is that I want to find it. You've got your classic aluminum Bigfoot throttle pedal, which I'd love to have one of those, but I also want to go get the little foot pedal that goes over your floor dimmer switch. I think those are cool. Stupid, yes, but cool. Yeah. If you got a big foot on the right, you got to have a little foot on the left. Yep, had a hand park brake. Yeah, that way you can drive like Steve McQueen, man. Come around the corner, hit the brake, put it down, punch it. Got a lot of auto parts store base. How many people don't know how high beams work? Oh, absolutely. Big Chrysler had a button on the floor, and the Seek feature on the radio was, yes, I've heard of that. I heard of that on the GM. Was a floor Seek button. Yeah, there was a lot of innovation. Nothing is really that new. Everyone's had an idea and they circle back and then improve upon said ideas. Nothing's new in automotive. There is a young man who drove a Cougar. I think it had the sequential taillight in it. He wanted it painted like this bright green. It's a little darker than Mopar Sublime green, but it's still a reach out and grab you green, and it just doesn't fit the Cougar. The car is not meant to be this ugly shade of green. It's not like an era shade of green, but it's on that Skittle green kind of vibe. It's just the wrong color for the car. My opinion. Bye, Ma. Take care. Sleep well. Ooh. Sounds nice. Oh, it's only 10:30. We're good. And then, what was it that my friend bought? He bought a 77 Grand Prix and brought it home, and somebody painted it. It was purple, but it was a absolutely horrible shade of purple. Mine was a Dan Gurney special. It sounded like a muscle car, but they weren't. Yeah, Dan Gurney was the man. Is it possible to burst an air bubble underwater? Really, all that you would do is just separate it. So it would just become more, it would just become more bubbles. So no, you wouldn't be able to burst the bubble because it's the water, the air still has to be displaced. You could, if you played your cards right, yeah, you could take a big bubble and segregate it, but it would all have to go up and dissipate. Dan Gurney special, you got the vinyl top, pinstripes, and the wheel covers, white wall tires, and a window decal. 67 Dan Gurney special also had a chrome air filter lid. Well, I know that you had the Dan Gurney, all of the Talladegas came with Dan Gurney or Cale Yarborough. You had your choice. And then some guys would just, go Dan Gurney or go Cale Yarborough. But every so often you'll see one, or I've heard of it. I've never actually seen one. It's not like you see a lot of Talladegas anyway. But I've heard that some guys actually, just as a goof, would put Dan Gurney on one side and Cale Yarborough on the other. Because I like both. The Mercuries were Cale and Dan models. Okay. Cyclone spoilers. Okay. Yeah, the Cyclones were a good looking car. There used to be a drag Cyclone over towards a friend of mine's place, and this thing was for sale like 2000. It was a beer bottle brown, like Mercury Cyclone, and it had a big hood scoop on it, and someone who was a striper had a sense of humor, and on the trunk lid it had a big tornado on the trunk lid, and in the tornado it had little bow ties and little ram's heads and little Pontiac shields and stuff, and they were like little stick people. So it was the emblem, and they all had little hands that they stuck their little hands out in their little feet, and like they got swept away, and it said something like "Beware of the Cyclone" on the trunk lid. And then on the hood scoop it had the little characters, and they were all hanging on to the edge of the hood scoop like they were getting sucked into the engine. That was my favorite part of that Cyclone. I wasn't a Ford guy, but I still checked it out because it was nice. And yeah, the Torino was the Talladega. Okay. My dad had a 76 Torino. It was still here. Nice. My dad had a 76 Torino, and it was like dark green with a black top and a black interior. And the trunk was so rusty towards the end that if you didn't have stand-up boards, on the left or right side of the trunk. You turned a corner, your stuff would roll out of the car. Ran great, but the body was done. And Dad and my Uncle Jimmy ended up finding a Mercury wagon with a puke driveline, and they ended up pulling the driveline out of the Torino and shoving it in the Merc wagon. And then at the time, my mom was previously married before she married my dad. And it was funny because we had that Merc wagon as our family cruiser. And remember when the little triangle signs they first began with baby on board, which, you still see those today. But then someone would go off the rails, and there was all sorts of little quips on those. And Mom's had ex-husband in trunk, and I thought that was so damn funny because there's no trunk on that wagon. Yeah, the wagon was burgundy with dark wood grain. Rode in a Cyclone and a Torino as a kid. I don't think I've ever rode in a Cyclone. But I definitely remember, I remember getting sick as a kid. We were leaving the farm. My grandmother had us all out for supper at the farm, and I must have had a stomach bug or something. And then on the way home, I got sicker and crap, and ended up, Dad pulled off to the side of the road, and I'm doing a number out the door, and my dad's like, "Don't puke on the car, don't puke on the door, don't puke on the seat." And I'm just so ill. I'm like, I don't care. But I did get it all out of the vehicle. And I'm a little kid, and I'm like, Grandma made me sick. You fed me bad food or something. And it had nothing to do with Grandma at all. And my grandmother, she was, oh man, you thought you just, she was so offended. I'm a little kid, and we're over to my Uncle Jimmy's place. And Uncle Jimmy had this little John Deere pedal tractor, and I never left the yard with that thing. And I must have put 100,000 miles on that thing. I pedaled that little John Deere tractor everywhere, and I was playing mud trucks. And Uncle Jimmy's driveway had big mud puddles in it. So he lived off of a dirt road, and his driveway was also gravel. They'd get these big mud puddles in it, and I loved it. So it was time to go, and I've been playing all afternoon in the backyard at Uncle Jimmy's, and Mom and Dad realized that I'm head to toe mud. And she's like, we can't wash them up, and we can't, what are we going to do? And my Aunt Bobby, she goes, I got just the thing. And she comes out with a trash bag, and they pick me up and they put me in the trash bag, and then they tied it around my neck, and they put me in the car, and they took me home in a trash bag. Oh yeah. Vista, to quote Red Foreman, it's a Vista cruiser. It's made to cruise the vistas. The only wagon I remember, a minivan is classified as a station wagon here in Michigan, but after the Merc wagon, the closest thing we had to a station wagon after that was we had a 90 Dodge Caravan in navy blue with a blue interior. This year barfing into a tiny gas bucket. Good times. The The Dodge Caravan had a 3-liter V6 in it, an automatic. Love the red. I love the red of the Vista Cruiser. Had a 72 Chrysler Town and Country 9-passenger with a 440 torque monster. That's right. That tuna boat would get down the road just fine. 72, that's still the big car. 72. Did that have the nose on it that looked like a Fury? Yeah. 72. I know 70 would have. Yeah, I think I know the front end of that car. It's a good looking car. That thing, if it was the Town and Country, then it's good. It's going to have the, if it had wood grain on it, it would go up. Wood grain to go down the car, and then would hook up behind the back glass and go up towards the roof. And then you'd have the thing to keep the dust off the back window, and then it would have grab handles right in the side of it, and would have the steps built into the bumper so you could step up into the wagon. Actually was able to beat a 71 Polaro wagon with a 383 in my dad's 79 88 Royale with a 350 Q-Jet Olds. I'll tell you what, Oldsmobiles were good little engines. Yeah, Polaro probably needed a tune-up. Spoiler with grab handle built in. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Okay, I'm going to be right back. Ooh. There. Oh, that's better. I got one of the boat cushions out of my canoe to sit on. I'm sitting on a hard wooden bench. Oh, that's way better. Hi, Justin. Olds had 256 gears. Holy crap. I guess that car did need a tune-up. For a second there, I thought you were going to put out Jenny's phone number, 8675309. My last job was in food, and we did a lot of packaging stuff. And we did a brand of stuff. I can't think of the brand name either, but it was owned by Hugh Jackman, the actor. And the main part number for the bulk product was 8675309. I laughed when I seen it, and I'm like, holy shit, I know what that is. And I go up to people at work, and I'm like, hey, do you know what this raw product number is? They're like, no. I'm like, it's 8675309. And they go, hey, isn't that? And I'm like, yep. Go drive off. I was the high-low driver. 999 999. we all went out to the local casino. They were having an all-you-can-eat crab leg buffet, and my friend and his wife always go, and I went out with them. And we're walking out with some to meet up some friends on the other side of this. The casino has gotten huge. It used to be just one big room, and now it's just sprawling complex. They just keep adding on. Big surprise there. And that song come on, and I'm there with my friend Jenny, and I'm like, Warner's come out and play, yay. It's a two-tone comment. It's Tommy Two-Tone. There was at one time some lucky soul who owned a DJ service had that phone number for his DJ service. How perfect. And future is so bright. Oh, because I wear my sunglasses at night. Or are you in cars? Here in my car, I feel safe from the world. Future's so bright, I gotta wear shades, man. Excellent segue. There was a local radio station, and they would play. It was a real small down home dealership, and they would play. They do all their specials. You know, they've got a '99 Regal for $10,500. And but the background was always the hook line to "In Cars," that organ solo, and yeah, you got tired of listening to it. You'd hear it begin, you just change the channel because you don't want to hear that stupid commercial again. Oh, spied a little thing, and I followed her all night in a funky pair of Levi's and a sweater that's kind of tight. She had a West Coast strut that was as sweet as molasses, but what really knocked me out was those cheap sunglasses. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I really love ZZ Top. Someday I'll bust out the record collection. I'll show you all sorts of neat stuff that I have in my records and my ephemera. I've got, I think it's a concert program from some ZZ Top concert from 1985 that I found at a music store. It's way cool. We had one station in the late 80s played all night car ads. The one announcer used to say, "We have a 1987 Buick Regal here." Well, that's right. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. I got to see ZZ Top play in 2003. And then in 2023. So I got to see ZZ Top play twice. Once with the late, great Dusty Hill. And then the second, I got to see Elwood Francis. And he played the 17-string bass. They played Under Pressure with it. And yeah, that thing is pretty cool. And then first time I seen them, they had white fuzzy guitars Last time I seen them, they had purple fuzzy guitars, but still had fuzzy guitars. Party on the patio. I'm bad, I'm nationwide. And now the thing is Dusty and Billy have always had the beards, right? And Frank Beard doesn't have a beard, never had a beard. Oh yes, he does, and there's photographic proof. If you look on the back side of the DeGuello album, there is a picture of the three guys, and they're playing wind instruments, and Frank Beard has a beard. It's on the DeGuello album. If it wasn't hard for me to go pull it out of my record shelf, I'd show, yeah. ZZ Top was awesome. And what I like is how they always say they're the same three guys playing the same three chords. Just a shuffle and see. But it rocks. That's what's so funny about ZZ Top and AC/DC for that matter, is they just, it's the same three chords, but it rocks. Well, I mean, and then you're in junior high when DeGuello came out. Okay. I think Recycler came out when I was in high school. Because I think Recycler's got I Need You Tonight on it. I really like AC/DC, but I prefer Bon Scott AC/DC over Brian Johnson. I mean, I like AC/DC no matter what, but I prefer Bon Scott era AC/DC. And I also like the songs that you don't hear on the radio, like on the album. For those about to rock, we salute you. There's a song called Night of the Long Knives, which is actually a reference to a political movement in Germany from a long time ago. So 11th grade when Eliminator came out. Okay. Yeah, I think I was in high school. It was Recycler. I forget when Recycler came out. The video to I Need You Tonight's pretty cool, where Eliminator is now a spaceship and they're docking in a spaceship, and it's a car wash. Because of course, got to keep your ride clean. My friend seen. He was out west. He was in Phoenix, Arizona, and he seen ZZ Top play, and they came out on stage in clown suits and played. And then the second time he seen them, they come out on stage and said, "We're sorry to say we're just a three-piece band," and then they proceeded to rock the whole place out. Yeah, we're just a three-piece band. What came out when I was in high school? I was in junior high when the Nirvana album Nevermind dropped. I was in junior high when Enter Sandman dropped, the Metallica album, the Black Album. I was in high school when Soundgarden, Super Unknown dropped. I was like a freshman in high school when Green Day's Dookie album dropped. I can't believe that they're still making new music. 29 years later. And it's good. That's what's even worse is you're like, oh, I remember hearing that band. And then 97 or 98, I seen Metallica play. It was Metallica, Glenn Danzig, and Suicidal Tendencies. And I was a big Suicidal Tendencies fan, so I was really jacked to see Suicidal Tendencies. And I did not care for Glenn Danzig. He was horrible. Huey Lewis and the News. Oh, sports. What a great album. Yeah, Huey Lewis and the News. What a party band. Could you imagine, even today, if they went out and played, I'll bet you that would be just a cool show. Always Pepsi. Always Pepsi. Always, always, always Pepsi. Huey Lewis actually played, or was at least at Woodstock. Well, I don't know, because he'd have to be pretty young. Anything's possible. My dad had the opportunity to go to Woodstock. People were getting ready to leave and go, and they were talking to my dad about it. And I bet he was young. And Dad was like, "What? Where are you guys going?" "Oh, we're going to go up to New York to see a concert." And Dad's like, "Oh, I don't know. I don't want to go all the way to New York to see a concert. Maybe if it was around here." Well, yeah, it was Woodstock. And he goes, "If I had known, I would have went." He goes, "But no one knew. No, it was just some concert in New York State." Yeah, I think Carlos Santana was like heavily, heavily altered out of his mind um for that concert. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was definitely, definitely feeling his Wheaties. So how crazy is that you are that whacked out on your gourd on whatever psychedelic he was on and still able to, because you can watch him play and you can see on his face he's like wigging out. So it's impressive that he could keep it together. Neighbor dogs are howling. Arr, arr, arr. There's no one of real, for where I'm from, there's no one of real fame from my area. I mean, you've got like Floyd Mayweather. He's from Grand Rapids, Michigan. So I mean, there's a name, but I mean, no one of that caliber where I'm from. No real household names. At least not to be known. Not at least stuff that you want to be known. Maybe on the nightly news. They were caught breaking into an anhydrous fertilizer plant. Oh, good job. That dog's going to town. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, you've got famous people. A lot of guys, a lot of people came from Kalamazoo also, which is another big town. Um, I remember driving past the what was left of the old checker building where they actually made car parts. My friend Harry, a guy I worked with right out of high school, I was a security guard, a night shift security guard, and I worked with a guy named Harry, and Harry worked for GM in the old checker building. And I said, "What were you making?" He goes, "Tailgates for S10s." Did you do any checker? He says, "Nope, we didn't do any checker. We all are making S10 parts." And a cat named Kalamazoo. That guy plays that song as the closing tune on an episode of WKRP. Yep, which I loved KRP. Oh yeah, that's right. I quizzed you guys on what Herb drove. Cordoba. Hoyt Axon. Della and the dealer, and a dog named Jake, and a cat named Kalamazoo. Yeah, there used to be bumper stickers that said, "Yes, there really is a Kalamazoo." And then there's an old song from the 40s by Glenn Miller, and it's "I've Got a Gal in Kalamazoo." And the part of the song they say, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I got a gal in Kalamazoo. Gordon Jump is from Dayton Centerville, and Gary Sandy lived in Dayton, both for a bit, and both were on KRP. I'll bet you money that back in the day, Gary Sandy probably seen more ass than a frickin' toilet seat. I'll bet you he was a hit with the ladies. Yeah, he was definitely the eye candy for the ladies on WKRP. All the guys were looking at Lonnie Anderson. The smart guys were looking at Jan Smithers. And the ladies got... yeah, he was a sick... Yeah, I could totally see him being the guy that'd be like, pick a girl and I'll take her home. All right, Gary. Her. You bring her home. And then you'll see him take her home later that night. It's like, how do you do that? I'll guarantee you he's that way. Or was that way. Yeah. Jan Smithers is a beautiful woman all by herself. And they dressed her down on purpose because, you got Lonnie just shining like a star. Louis Howell. And then Wes Nessman with his Silver Sow Awards. I loved how he always used his office door, unlocked it and everything. Of Alan? Okay, I'm not sure where Alan is, but I know where Allegan is. Nothing. What's going on, McGaffey? Just hanging out here this evening with some cool people on a Monday night. Why? Just 'cause. Alan. I'm just not placing it. I was really alarmed a few years ago when I watched Mad World, and I'm like, damn, Ethel Merman was a sexy. Yeah, isn't that amazing? When you see people like back in the day, like, wow, like Betty White aged gracefully. She was a good-looking lady back in the 50s. Or who else was an amazing looking lady back in the day? Well, I mean, Lonnie Anderson went into her golden years and she was still beautiful. What kind of videos do I make? I make a lot of automotive content videos. I like to build things. I sometimes I'll go on motorcycle trips. I also like to do videos that on like sayings explained and talk about that in depth. And those commonly used sayings that we all north of Hillsdale. Oh, okay, so that's over on the other side of the state, I believe. Betty White from Mary Tyler Moore turned out to be a sexy. Yeah. Yes. Yes, she was nice looking, and Mary Tyler Moore was a good looking lady. Like when she was on the Dick Van Dyke Show, she was just a cute little lady. Oh, cool. Usually in the winter when it's so cold because I don't have heat in the Wolverine garage. So usually in the winter I'll start when I just can't wrench out in the garage when it's so cold. I'll start doing a lot of the sayings explained stuff. And I collect all sorts of neat stuff. I'm always coming across neato stuff. So yeah, yeah. Welcome aboard, McGaffey. Nice. Yeah. Nothing's holding you back. Go for it, McGaffey. Oh God, Ted Knight is so funny. Well, I mean, look how great he was in Caddyshack. Oh, Billy, 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 Billy boy. I need Billy Baru. What's with this hat? This hat looks like you get a free bowl of soup. Oh, but it looks good on you, sir. If you guys ever, a funny son of a gun is Bob Euchre. If you all want to get a good laugh in, Bob Euchre got the Broadcaster Award one year for during a Hall of Fame weekend, and he does an acceptance speech that is just, he is so damn funny, and he delivers it with a straight face. He's got the whole place in stitches. He is just, Bob Euchre is really funny. Awesome. Thanks, McGaffey. Miller Lite commercials. And I'm not Bob Euchre. Yeah, Bob. Yeah, you guys want to watch something funny? Watch that whole speech. He is, God, he's falling down funny. That man is hilarious. And he actually played some semi-pro, maybe almost pro ball himself. He was a good athlete. Oh, the rifleman, Chuck Connors. Chuck Connors played professional football, baseball, and basketball, besides being an actor. Amazing. Got to play at the professional level and then still went and became an actor. But Jack refused. Oh, that'd be great. That would be great. Yeah. Jack Webb. Just the facts, ma'am. Yeah, that's so funny where they like, oh, we wanted this person. You're like, oh, that'd be perfect for that individual. Or we wanted this originally, we went with this person. You're like, I'm so happy they went with the second person because the first person would have sucked. So, show what I've been busy with, McGaffey, is I took the valve body out of a Chrysler 727, and the valve body was cast in June of 67. And there is, I just cleaned it last Saturday. I boiled it in pine sol and water, and I got it nice and clean. The Clopper Capper kit, yes. Can you imagine? That would be a good one of all. Yeah. And then, so that's the upper piece of a 727 Chrysler valve body. And then I'll get the other side out. And then this is the lower piece to that same valve body. And I mean, it got nice and clean. All the channels. There was this shmoo, this gelatinous shmoo in all those channels of the circuits. Yeah, I mean, they call these circuits. So, I mean, that's what Lady Dougster, I showed it to her. She's like, it looks like it cleaned up very well. Yes, it did, McGaffey. What I ended up doing was boiling it in the pine sol in water and then let it cool. And then I ended up taking Q-tips and taking it and putting it through all the circuits and got a lot more shmoo out. And now it's, yeah, well, I'm going to be putting a shift kit in that valve body. And basically when you do that, you're basically rebuilding the valve body anyway. So I gotta still polish the valves, and then I can start actually putting the shift kit in. Oh, and I gotta flat sand everything because these will warp. So gotta make sure that that's actually like perfectly flat. So I'll be flat sanding these. I'm making a video on all this. So eventually, McGaffey, you'll be able to see all this in a video. So I gotta polish the valves, and then I can start or flat sand both mating surfaces, and then I can start putting the shift kit in and building it. It's gonna be sweet. It's gonna hit hard in second. Yeah. Manual transmission is used for all cars and trucks without. Never been an automatic. So, okay, how to clean a valve body. Just go by, I just went into the dollar store and I just bought a cheap soup pot, the cheapest one I could find. And the problem is that I've been putting carburetors in it, and then these metal parts, it scratches that coating, whatever's on the pan, and it's coming off and it's floating around in the pine sol in the water, and it's starting to lay itself on like the valve body and stuff. So I think if I was to have a carb pot again, like I might go buy a cheap stainless steel one somewhere, and because at least that won't have that coating come off. But yeah, have a pot that's designated for like cleaning your carburetors and the valve bodies. And then yeah, you can actually do it two ways. You've got the fast method, and then you have the slow method. The slow method is just make sure that it's in pine sol and water and submerged and let it sit for a week, and then just take it and dip it and agitate it and put it in a different way every day. And then the fast way is pine sol and water and boil it. I probably boiled that lower piece for 3 or 4 hours, moving it periodically, and adding water to the mixture because it was boiling off. And it works out pretty good. And then I didn't use air because these things are coming out so hot, Dr. G, that they eradicate all water out of themselves. There's no water to be had. Basically, you shake them off and set them down, and they're dry. They are that hot. You can't handle them barehanded. I was using water paper towels to grab them and move them. It was like, and if I didn't have enough paper towel, I'm like, hot, 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 hot. But yeah, it's just Pine Sol and water. I think I paid less than $8 for the big bottle of Pine Sol. Just make sure whatever you're dealing with, just like if you're gonna do it in the house, you gotta work with your like your burner and have it boiling, but not like a high rolling boil where it's splattering all over the place, because you got to keep mama happy. You don't want to make the kitchen look like crap. So I was able to keep a clean kitchen and still get my greasy automotive parts clean. Yeah, good old Pine Sol. And that's kind of the new school thing. The old school guys would go buy lemon juice and then use lemon juice and water to clean like carbs and stuff. Yeah, it works great. And everything smells like Pine Sol. The house smells like Pine Sol. So, I mean, you could have a bunch of worse smells in the house. The boiling water definitely would work better than the cold, just because that heat expands and I mean, when you watch that with a good rolling boil, it's got little air bubbles running all over the place and everything. I mean, it's pretty good. It ain't no ultrasonic cleaner, but I don't have one of those, at least not yet. So my method seems to work good. I've done like 2 or 3 carburetors on top of the valve body with great success. First time I did my carburetor, that one Edelbrock, I did the slow method, just let it soak. But every other time I heated them up. Well, you're constantly also pulling these out and inspecting them, because like this cleaned up really good because I was able to take this and just lay it down in the bottom of the pot and just let it cook fully submerged. But this one, the lower, it being such an odd shape, like I could set it in the soup pot standing up like this, and I could get the water level up to about there. So I'd have to take it and then eventually set it in like this and set it in like that and then set it in like that. And I was slowly getting there. Pine Sol. And the fluid, when I took the valve body out of this 727, the fluid was old, like smelled old, but it didn't smell burned itself. But once you got inside the valve body, it did have a light burn smell, but it wasn't anything bad. I've never soaked a carb. I've always slammed the kit into them and ran. Ones that didn't run better, didn't run any worse. Okay, I can see that. I asked because someday I need to get brave enough to install the Cope shift kit. After watching your video and Cope's video, I need to buy a new locking dipstick from him. My old one can pop up. Yeah, exactly. That was one of the reasons why I wanted the locking stick too, is because They want it at the drag strip and safe. I mean, as flammable as transmission fluid is, yeah, let's go with the locking dipstick. And besides, it's nice new shiny parts. Who doesn't like new shiny parts? Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's not that far. I mean, if you look at a torch cleaning kit that you buy at like the farm store or the welding supply house, that's basically all they are, is just pieces of guitar string, essentially. Yeah. That's not that far out of whack, Dan. If you've just got to swap valve body, um, Dr. G, it won't be that bad. All you've got is um, all you've got to do is take the gear selector lever off, and then, or first you got to take the kick down. Yeah, the kick down thing. Take that off. Take your gear selector off. Take your pan off. And then take your valve body bolts out, and the whole thing comes right down, except your park rod. Take your selector and put it in low, which I think will be all the way forward, and then take the park rod out, and then your whole valve body drops out. It's actually surprisingly easy how the valve body drops out, and if you've got the whole trans brake and everything, you can just put it right back up into place. And reassemble, Stephanie. Reassemble. Oh, let's go outside, see what's happening outside. That and my butt hurts. So. We're outside. Outside. On the move. It's cool. Plenty O signal. Nice. Yeah, it was a little rainy and stuff earlier. No clouds in the sky. Stars. No, can't really see them. But trust me. Wish we could go to a place where you don't have so much light pollution. We could go out and we could look at constellations. I like that. Look, it's a Big Dipper, guys. It's the Little Dipper. Look, there's Orion. Yeah, Jack, I did. And it smells terrible. Shouldn't be drinking all that cheap beer and eating them pickled eggs, man. The light pollution isn't so bad out where I'm at, if you just get a little away from everyone's yard lights and stuff. But if you stand out in the area, you can definitely tell where all the major cities are. Like you can tell that big glow to the north is Grand Rapids, and that big glow to the west is Holland, and the glow to the south is yeah, that's right. You are out in a nice area, so yeah. Yeah, it ain't so bad in my area. Ever try pickle juice in Smirnoff? No, I haven't, but I'm not opposed to the idea, and I know that Russians love pickles and vodka, so I'm sure it's been done before. Are you from West Virginia? No, I'm from the great state of Michigan. So that was one heck of a fart, Jack. Yeah, I'm not afraid to try it. I never thought that. What was that shot? Pickleback, where it is a shot of pickle juice and a shot of Jameson. I didn't think that would be good, and it actually was. I thought my fart reached West Virginia. Yeah, the pickleback shot actually wasn't that bad. They're both next to Ohio. This is true. Yeah, the funny thing is that Toledo, Ohio at one time was part of Michigan, and Ohio said it was theirs, and Michigan said it was theirs, to the point where we were almost ready to go to arms over it. And I think we were going to arms over it. So there's actually this little pie slice of Michigan, and it ended up that President Jackson gave all that land that they were disputing over to Ohio. So Toledo and all that became part of Ohio. And Michigan, as a consolation prize, got the entire Upper Peninsula. I think we did pretty good on that trade. They're both next to Ohio. Someday I want to ride my Valkyrie past the Marysville, Ohio Assembly Honda plant, just because that's where it was born. Didn't President Jackson invent the light bulb? No, President Jackson did not invent the light bulb. You're thinking of Edison. Edison invented the light bulb. Others don't know Jack. That's right. Yeah, the Upper Peninsula is a beautiful place to go visit. Yeah, that's right. You're close to what? Iron Mountain? Yeah, I think you're close to Iron Mountain. Because there's a when you get out by Iron Mountain, you're actually if you stay on the road, it kind of runs the border of Wisconsin and Michigan. So you'll be going down the road and you're in Wisconsin, then you're back in Michigan, then you're in Wisconsin, Michigan, Wisconsin, Michigan as you make your way north. I heard it's really neat. Oh, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised, um, um, Dean. Um, they all were, well, Harvey Firestone was Henry Ford's father-in-law. So I've never been to the UP. I've been to Lansing, to the Olds plant, and I've been to Detroit. I've been to Detroit, and I've been to Lansing a time or two. And I've been in the UP. The UP, especially in June right now, it is magical. End of the month, the last weekend in June, before the 4th of July, is the St. Ignace Car Show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go to the most awesome car show that you've probably ever been to, you need to go check out the St. Ignace Car Show. It is insane. There are vehicles that people from across the nation come to St. Ignace. There will be more cars there than you'll ever shake a stick at. Good luck getting a hotel room. If you were to go call them up now and try to get a hotel room, good luck. Be prepared to pay hefty prices if you do find one, but it's a good time. It's Gearhead Nirvana. And yes, it's just so pretty up there. My Classic Cars covered St. Ignace. I'll tell you what, Dan, whatever My Classic Car shows you, Dennis Gage, I like him. He's a great guy. It doesn't even scratch the surface. It's just good. I think I remember a GM executive say that the Lansing plant had 2 lines and could roll a vehicle off in less than 2 minutes, continuous production back in the heyday. Oh, yeah. I just finished building a D150 shop truck. Took me 2 years. Nice. Yeah, he is on Jay Leno's level. He's been out to Big Dog Garage many times too. Yeah, Dennis Gage is he's not, I don't think he lives that far away from me. I think he's probably a couple hours away. I think he's in northern Indiana. He's never come right out and said where he's at, but I think he's in northern Indiana. Mustache Gage, yeah, these usually he's got it waxed up and looking good. And I seen one thing where he was doing a motorcycle thing. And then that day he had his mustache unwaxed and it was just hanging down like a big Fu Manchu. And that looked just as cool as when he's got it all twisted up as a wax mustache. He's the Pringle image guy. Windblown. Yeah, yep, cinder blocks. Yep, Casey. There is we have 2, yeah. There was a father and son team out by us. I went to church with them as a kid. And hey, Crane, what's happening? Welcome to my live stream. And both of them had wax mustaches. That was their signature. They both always did that, and that was a great tradition. Dad's long gone, but the son still does it. Okay, I'm going to turn the yard light off. Be right back. I seen a video a while back, and it's you get used to seeing those guys with those crazy skill with equipment, and like the one I really like was a cell phone and a push button lighter, and the guy's got the excavator bucket out, and he's lighting the lighter, and the phone screen is not broken. So you see all these crazy skill things, and then it's a guy standing around, and the guy goes to the other one, "Hey, you want to see a trick?" And the guy goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Take your hard hat and throw it out there for him, and you'll like it." And so the guy goes, "Well, okay." and he takes his hard hat and he throws it, puts it out there, and it lands, face up like it's supposed to be. And the loader operator comes over with his excavator, comes over with the bucket, and he takes one of the fingers and he takes the helmet and he goes tap 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 tap, and then he goes whoosh, boom, and he smashes it into the ground. That was funny because you're not expecting that. You're expecting some impressive trick. It's just a whole bowel syndrome, this business. Thanks, Dr. G. Have a good evening. Great having you. Well, let's see. 11:35. I think I'll stay on for a little while longer. Hard to feather hydraulics. Not impossible. Well, you got those guys that are just so good with what they do. It's amazing. The other ones that are good is when you see guys that take a piece of equipment that's on top of a train car, and it's like a tractor with the excavator, with the excavator bucket and a regular bucket on the front and the downriggers, and you watch this guy walk it off of it's like 10 feet in the air, 12 feet in the air, takes it right down. You're like, wow. Aw, we love Dr. G. As a matter of fact, I'm going to run late tonight because I have tomorrow off. I also have a physical tomorrow with my doctor, but that'll be no big deal. The G is a degree. Whoa. Dr. G. Party time like the spice. My ex-girlfriend used to waitress at a restaurant that was called the Harvest Time. It was spelled like the spice. Place actually had really good food. It was just in a crappy location. And you know about what the best place in business is: location, location, location. Spice Grill. Does that be confused with Spice Girls? Spice Grill. Detroit? Oh yeah, Detroit. I'm not in Detroit. I'm on the other side of the state, but yeah, Detroit for sure. I'm a huge Tigers fan. Bar fights. Right now I've been drinking water. I might have a beer. No, I can't. I'm out of beer. So yeah, I know. I'm a rowdy one drinking water. Hydro homies. Yeah, I bet you a couple fuse all you need, isn't it, Dad? What are we doing? We're sitting around shooting the breeze, talking cars, and telling old stories, and just hanging out and having ourselves a time. They just deployed the Marine. Oh, that's right, the National Guard. Yeah. People just people just gotta be dumbasses, I guess. Fly shit out of the pepper. You been talking to my dad, Danster? That's something my dad would say. Yeah, son, you can get yourself a job at the pepper factory. You can pull the fly shit out of the pepper. Ha ha ha. How's your back feeling? Is it feeling any better for you there, Tom? Yeah, I've been in your shoes. It's no fun. No fun. Like I have our master bedroom has a bath right off of it, and I'm wearing socks. Rock out with my socks out. At my old day job, my ah, love is like socks and gin. Soxygen. Oh my. Sounds like gin that's been had something done to it. Oh, it was filtered gin with sweaty socks. That makes it taste better, right? Soxygen. Well, I hope you're feeling better, Tom. Soxygen. That's a word. Yeah, I've had it so bad that I couldn't even walk around my bed and into my bathroom, which is, I think, probably 10 feet from my pillow. Bathtub and some socks. Yeah, especially if you need your socks washed. Oh, bathtub gin. Ha ha ha. Gotcha. Ah, bathtub gin. Bath socks. I know a lot of truckers wear sandals when they go shower at the truck stops because they don't want their bare feet touching that floor, that shower floor, which I totally understand. Oh, yeah. I notice a lot of the truck stops now. You've got a rewards card, and then as you buy stuff and everything, it gets points, and you can use points to get showers and stuff like that. So that's how you're accumulating all that. So instead of actually buying a shower, directly, you accumulate points and then you use those to buy a shower. I'm it depends on what truck stop you're going to. If you go to like a Love's truck stop or a Pilot or a Flying J, one of the bigger ones, the showers are a lot better. But the little itty bitty mom and pops truck stops, yeah. Because a lot of the bigger places have a lot of staff and they're going through and actually cleaning the shower and getting it ready for the next person to take a shower in it instead of just, well, yeah, we've had 3 guys shower in it today and there you go, bud. Yeah, I'm definitely an Old Spice guy. I've been an Old Spice guy for probably 30 years. No, wait, in high school, no, I've been out of school, yeah, 29 years. Yeah, I've been an Old Spice guy for probably close to 30 years. But when I was in high school, what all the guys liked was Brute spray deodorant in the aerosol can. Everyone had it, seemed like. I always thought, I used to buy it too, because everyone else did. And I always thought it was way too cold on your pits. Like, woo, oh God. Yeah, that's one thing you don't see anymore. Is guys getting the Orca Velva or the Old Spice, just a splash. Or guys wearing Brute. Pierre Cardin. Ooh, there was a Pierre Cardin javelin at one time. Pierre Cardin edition javelin. I think it was a javelin. Yeah. So, Pierre Cardin. Yeah, polo. High karate. All the guys wearing high karate. At my last job, they were, because we made food and packaged food, you couldn't like come to work wearing. Yes, you know exactly, Danster. Okay, it's almost midnight, so I am going to wrap it up. Guys, thanks for coming and hanging out with me. As always, it's been an absolute blast. Everyone have a great evening and come on back next Monday and we'll still do it all over again. So until then, I'll see you next Dougster time on the same Dougster channel. Bye, everyone.